Good morning. We have a fantastic day lined up for you guys. We have the Ryan Lundquist. Before he does, get the day started like how we do every week with a tell me something good. Tell me what you
I
got.
got it. Jeff Zimmerman was an appraiser. He's a real estate broker. He's been a lender, and he's joining EXP. We don't have time for the initiation and hazing party now.
Yeah.
That's later.
Perfect, I look forward to it.
Awesome. Welcome. All right. Who else has something they want to share? If not, I'll call on you. So I know there's some tell me something good in the room.
I have 2 buyers.
There you go. That's two buyers. Go ahead, Mish or Luis. That's funny. Luis, what do you got?
I've also received 2 referrals that are in motion right now, and then as of yesterday, I got my first outbound referral for a double commercial deal. Well, my first commercial deal.
Dude, congratulations.
I closed escrow yesterday on my first joint venture with some investor client friends.
Wow. All right, let's see, who else do we got? Austin, what do you got, my friend?
3 appointments yesterday.
3 appointments. How did you get those 3?
It was one who was a cold call, one was a pipeline, another was a PPC.
There you go, all 3, the big 3 right there. Love it. All it's missing is open house. And then Gorgeous, what did you do last week or this week? Tell me something good.
Other 2 escrows, one was a listing, and another one, $1.5 million house in my park, so.
The reason why we do this is there's a lot of negativity in the market. You hear people who are struggling and there are people that are doing well. What we want to do is that no matter what your skill set, there's people succeeding in the market, right? And so that's what these meetings are mainly about, is leveling up your skills. Speaking of leveling up your skills, we have 2 meetings, 2 big events coming up. One is Build. It's happening in San Antonio, Texas. This is like the flagship event that we do every single year. And we have some incredible speakers lined up for you. We have Gary Brecka from 10X Health who's going to be speaking. We have Burl Workman from Workman Success Systems who's going to be speaking. And is anybody like one of Brent's favorite books of all time is Financial Prospecting. Who here, raise your hand if you've heard or read the book Financial Prospecting. A lot of hands. Okay. So the guy who authored it, Jeb Blunt, will be there speaking. He'll be one of the keynotes as well. Is there anybody else? I think that's mainly it. So it's July 10th through 12th, San Antonio, Texas. Clark, what do you got?
Elaine Cordone.
Elena Cardone. Yeah. Look, Valerie's face is like, oh, I'm going. Yeah. All right. So Elena will be there as well. So that's coming up July 10th. You can get tickets. If you, I'm going to do this. I think Brent will back me on this. But if money is an issue, if you're saying, hey, I just don't have the funds, like I can't buy the ticket and the plane tickets and the hotel, reach out to me and we'll see if we can get your ticket covered, right? So you send me a screenshot of your plane ticket. We'll see if we can get your ticket covered so you can go to Build and get to hang out with these people and level up your skills in somewhere else. Sound good? No. I thought you guys would be more excited about it. Yeah. All right. So that's happening in July. And then also in July, we will be having Ricky Carruth. Raise your hand. Everybody should have pretty much heard of Ricky Carruth, right? The dude is a beast. #1 agent in Alabama for many, many years for his previous brokerage. And he's going to be coming here speaking on how to get more listings. So we're going to be having him at PCAR, and then there might be a little after party as well with Ricky Carruth privately. So get a chance to meet him, shake his hand, and ask him the hard questions like, what are you doing really? Is who you are on stage who you are in private? And get kind of learn some of the secret sauce. So that's happening as well. With that, we have. I just want to do one quick more like lender update because the wonderful world of lending is maybe not always that wonderful. So for today, Miss Lindsay, would you mind standing up, giving us a quick lender update?
Sure.
All right, give a round of applause, everybody.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. Oh, sorry. I'm Lindsay. I'm with the JJ Matt team at American Pacific Mortgage. We're one of the preferred lenders on the Made for More team, and I've worked with quite a few of you. Many of you haven't yet, hoping to in the future, but we are seeing, a little bit of shift in the market. Interest rates are kind of hanging out, leveling off a little bit this week. Hoping that we're going to see a little shift in the coming couple of weeks. And then I didn't get a chance to share my tell me something good, but I was gonna say this week we had, well, actually today, one closing with the Made for More and another open escrow with the Made for More team. And
Yay.
another one sounds like with Valerie, maybe out putting in an offer, maybe in the next day or so. So some good movement. And just please let us know if you guys need anything. We're here for you as a resource. We're available. I'll pass out my cards. You guys have my cell phone too, as well as JJ, and we're happy to be here.
Awesome.
Share with you guys.
Real quick, Lindsay,
Yeah.
JJ was sharing a story. that There was somebody who had trouble getting pre-approved, getting their offer accepted. I think it was like a bridge loan situation.
So that's the one that just closed
Okay,
today. And that was was an older couple, and they just couldn't manage the idea of, well, first of all, they couldn't get an offer accepted with contingent offer, but
yeah,
moving in a 21-day time frame also wasn't feasible for them. And so we did a bridge loan. Their mortgage wasn't paid off, but they had a pretty low balance. They had some decent equity, and it allowed them to, purchase without a contingency and get into a house, regular escrow timeframes. It has a 6-month term, so they have 6 months to pay that off once they sell their current house to be able to, get rid of that bridge loan balance. It doesn't have a payment. It's not an extra thing. You do have to qualify with both of them, both mortgages, but it was a great option for them. And, it was something that they needed. They were able to get an offer accepted as soon as we went with the bridge loan option, got rid of having a contingent sale. They got an offer accepted within
yeah.
a couple of days.
So they've been
That
trying,
just
they've
closed
been
up.
trying for months. People,
Yeah.
they've been trying, and then they switched lenders, they got it done, and now they're in escrow. So that's
They just closed today.
there you
So,
go.
yeah.
They closed. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsay. All right, so we have enough of the announcements, enough with the events. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's meeting. Everybody, please welcome to the front. Real quick. So Ryan has been kind enough to provide, yeah, one more thing, to provide us with the PDF, okay? So the PDF is going to be provided in linked format. So if you want this, make sure you reach out to myself. We'll try to put it on the Brent Gove team page as well. We're going to put it in the chat box for those of you online. But anyways, you don't have to be like snapping pictures. You will get an actual beautiful PDF of all the slides for today's thing. So just wanted to throw that out there. So with that, please welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Ryan Lundquist. And we can, yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. How's it going? Do we want to turn down the lights, get romantic, or can everyone see the screen? So, okay, we're good. Well, great. Well, I'm so excited to be here today, and we have had such a dramatic housing market. So I think if I could say anything, I would say, the rates of our lives, to play on Days of Our Lives, it has been like a soap opera out there. Remember last year when it felt like everything was completely falling apart? It was so dark, and then now all of a sudden it went from an ice bath to what feels like a bloodbath. Right, and so we have some weird dynamics right now. Okay, and are you guys ready to laugh today? Because I have.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I sure hope so. Otherwise, this is going to get really awkward. So I was going to say, if the housing market, and it's okay, can we get rid of the Zoom thing up there? Is that possible? Okay, that would be awesome. If the housing market was trending on Netflix, here's some of the things we would see. A man called Otto. Whoa.
Yeah, let me-
Whoa.
I'm going to throw you off, Ron. I'm trying to get rid of this.
Hey, thank you so much. Okay.
We're going to start from the beginning.
Oh, it is all good. I appreciate
There
it.
you
There we
go.
go. So, a man called Otto can't afford to buy. Ginny in Georgia got a low appraisal. Hangover, seller stuck on 2022 prices. Missing supply, leaving California, Ozark edition. Down payment assistance from the mother. Love is blind and so is real estate when removing all contingencies. Outer Banks, Gen Z will eventually buy. Bring a strong offer, Arnold. Concessions for you. And the last but not least, selling sunset. Just kidding, there are no listings. And so this is the dynamic we have right now. And we're really in a situation where we have low demand and low supply. And someone asked me the other day, what market in the past resembles today? And I said no market. Although I would say actually it's a hybrid of 2007 worst volume ever meets 2020. And so it's this weird combination. And so I want to unpack that today. I want to give you some nuggets to share on your socials. I want you to maybe take some stats and to be able to, turn those into reels and such. And I want you to be able to fish for business? How can you focus business ahead? Okay. So here are new listings through the years. And these are the first 5 months of the year, corresponding colors. What do you notice in 2023 compared to every other year? Past 10 years. Everything's low. Yeah, that was the answer I was looking for. Let's make this participatory. Absolutely. And so we're missing about 40% of new listings compared to last year at the same time. Is there a question?
Yeah, I have actually two. What's the cause of the shortage of housing, and does it correlate to a lot of people leaving California and also people leaving apartments and the effect of COVID-19?
We will get to the cause. We'll unpack some of that. Yeah, not so much. It's not about California people leaving, but it is about. I'll say this, and then we'll get to his question. Here's a different way to look at the same data, and you can see 2023 in orange. It's just lower than any other year, right? And so has anyone noticed? I mean, or is it just me? A lack of listings? Yeah, it's been really, really crazy. And so basically, how would the market feel if we had 5,400 more listings this year? That's the amount that we're missing. Now, this year, compared to last year, we're missing 5,400. Compared to the pre-pandemic average, we're missing about 7,500. And so it's felt really, really tight. And so it's sort of been this Oprah moment where I think the Fed has been like, you get a 3% rate, you get a 2.5% rate, and it's caused havoc in the housing market. And so raise your hand if you have a rate below 3% on your personal residence. Okay. Now, raise your hand. Raise your hand again if you're going to sell this year. Oh, welcome to the 2023 housing market. There we go. And so that's the dynamic. To answer the question, why are we seeing fewer listings? It's because people are sort of locked in place. The math doesn't work to buy a different house. And we have a market that's not, 12th grade econ. It's about supply and demand. We have a market that is really created by the Fed. Okay. And so here's a way to say it though. Supply, new listings are in blue from 2018 onward. And basically when rates went below 3% in the region, we've been missing all this supply, but it's just been on steroids this year, or I guess a lack of steroids where it's been lower than it has been before. And so how long will this last? I don't think anyone knows, but right now we're in the midst of a trend where it's like, oh yeah, people are sitting. Okay, and people will sit until they don't. Okay, and yes.
I was gonna have a lot of those houses that aren't going listing because people just are staying where they're at and not buying, or is there a lot more houses hitting the rental market?
We'll get to that too.
Okay.
So you guys are asking great questions. So it's easier to unlock demand than supply though. And that's the truth. Right now, I think buyers are sort of waiting, going, I want to be able to afford the market. And, but prospective sellers are in a place where they're like, it's going to be a long time before the math works. Okay. The X factor is affordability. And you can see here's some stats. So 20% of households in California can afford the median price. And around here in the region, all our counties are flirting with somewhere around 30%. And so you can see when COVID happened, rates went below 3%. We saw a dramatic decline in affordability, right? And we all know that. We don't need this graph, but I guess it's our claim to fame that Sacramento, we're more affordable than California, right? But then local residents are like, it doesn't matter because I live here and I can't afford. So, but when you look at Redfin, here's the monthly mortgage payment in the US. It's basically higher than it's been. Okay, and so that's sort of like, this isn't a market beatdown. I'm not here to be negative, but just the reality of, hey, the math is tough on a lot of people right now. And so with rents, has anyone had a listing, or did you have one last year where the seller was like, if I can't get my price, I'll just rent it out? Yeah, absolutely. This has been a trend. The property managers I know, they are booming. You want to be a part of a booming real estate business. It's like property management, because there are more listings that have hit the market. There's not an oversupply, but you have, some people who couldn't sell, and then they're like, I'm going to rent out for $30,000 a month, and they don't have realistic expectations. And it sounds like some of the sellers today. So, but here's the question for you: is it cheaper to buy or to rent?
Why?
Buy.
Rent.
Okay, buy is always the real estate answer, right? But I want us to look at the stats. I don't think the answer matters. But when you look at, here's Redfin data for the Sacramento region. Here's the median monthly rent at about 2,700, and look at the median monthly cost of a mortgage. Okay, I saw the other day an Instagram reel where mortgage payment was going to be $5,100 in Elk Grove for a property in the 600s. I guarantee there's no way that property is renting anywhere close to that amount. And so we're in a market that's weird, where the math doesn't work. And so, all those cute images that realtors, share through the years, like, look, it's so much more advantageous to, buy because you see how that doesn't work. But what does work is lifestyle. And so that's why I say you push the math aside in today's market and ask, who is buying and who is selling. I have a bunch of clues a little later in this, but this is from Christina Keller, and I love when agents will list in the comments or make their own posts and say, here is who is in my sphere right now, buying and selling. And you can see in her sphere, whether it's Bay Area, first time buyer, seller, out of state business venture, like the answer is going to be different for everyone. Okay, but if you don't have anyone in your sphere, that's probably a sign to network more. But it's also like lean on people on your team. You can see in the Made for More team, here's what we have going on. Here's why people are moving. Here's where they're moving to. Here's why they're buying. I think that's a really, really powerful thing. Can anyone do that? Like, I challenge you to do that on your socials. Tap into that. Okay. Now here's mentions of pickleball from 2011 through 2023 in MLS listings. What do you notice? This is what's driving the market. No, it's not. But there's a huge instance. Okay, it's pretty wild to see the trend. Here's Starbucks from 1998. What do you notice? A lot more Starbucks sells homes, apparently. I don't know. We'll see. Here's Trader Joe's. Here's Wine Fridge. You guys are crushing it in MLS by listing Wine Fridge. Here's Fabulous. Whoa! If I put Charming shows up 5% of the time. Fabulous is only about 2.5% of the times. And here's what do I call it? Honey, stop the car. Okay, how many instances? So, has anyone ever pulled a honey, stop the car?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, there you go. There you go. In every future listing now. Honey, stop the car. But a lot of people compare this market to 2007, and I would say it feels kind of similar. Was that totally nerdy? I don't know why I do this stuff. I just think about it, and then I'm like, honey, I stopped the car on a grab. But in 2007, we had 10 months of housing supply, and right now in Sacramento County, it's closer to 1. Placer's like 1.4. It's really, really low. And so it's weird because we have a market that's 2007, like the number of sales, but then the dynamic is completely different, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. And so here's some stats. What stands out to you about May 2023? This is for the whole region. Sales that closed above the original price, at and below. What stat stands out to you most? Above. Yeah. It's always like the hot one. What hot one can I focus on right now? Yeah, absolutely. So about half of the market has been going above, right? But does it surprise you that 37% is below? No. Okay, good. I would love to hear more about that in the real estate narrative. But what about compared to 2021? What do you notice statistically? So we're not as hot as 2021, right? And so we want to be careful about like hottest market ever. It's not that, but it's really, really picked up speed. And here's agents in 21 versus 2023. I get it. This is, I think, a razor, everyone. Totally. But here's 2007. What do you notice? Because we want to know the stats in the market as people make comparisons and this stuff, then you could say, well, it's really not in 2007 where about 89% of sales sold at or below the list price. It's a different dynamic. Okay. Here's a crazy way to look at the market. I love this, but I know people want to be like, I hate this image. Let's scroll past. But basically, here are sales in May in the region, and this line right here is 0%. Any dot above went above the list price. Any dot below went below, or you have a bunch at. And so, what do you see when you look at these dots and the 0% line? Yeah, it looks like, remember that stat, 51% went above. So it looks like it's kind of evenly divided. But here's by price range. And so 500,000, look, there are still properties below 500, that go below the original list price. And so I just want to challenge everyone, make sure that your narrative isn't only above the line. I think the temptation in real estate is to look at only glowing stats. We want to take a holistic view of the market, especially buyers who are like, there's no hope. Sell them hope by saying like, look, here's this escrow right here, here's this one or that one, okay? Something to think about. So this guy had a 18% rate in 1981. We feel for him at, $53,000 mortgage though. But what would happen if rates right now, they've been about 7%. What would happen if they went up to 8%? Ouch, I heard, yeah, right. What that would take demand out of the market, right?
Yeah.
What happens if rates go down to 6%?
Demand comes in.
Demand comes in, right? Do you remember in January when everyone was like, rates will be 5% by May, right? And then, oops, And so here are your housing profits. The rates will be 5%, 7%, and they're going this way. And so rates are very difficult to predict. I respect it when some economists don't predict rates because they know that it's difficult, okay? And so who knows where they go, but this is sort of the X factor for the second half of the year. I want to show you like some things happening in the market, what we can expect, but a lot of it is what happens with rates. And so here's my issue with rates. Mortgage rates lately are like body weight. It seems easier to go up than down. Anyway, so there are a few things that are true. We are in new territory. We've not had a market like this. It'll take time to get buyers back, okay? And it'll take affordability. More time for sellers. We need more affordability, hands down. The market is ridiculously competitive, and if you break up with Taylor, she'll write a song about you. Okay? All these things are true. So you guys are a tough crowd. So, okay, what do you notice about this slide with colors in the United States?
Red and blue.
Red and blue. Yeah, I know. I'm like, people shouldn't do red and blue because then you're like, is it political? No, it's not political. Okay, on the West Coast, the red signifies markets that have declined from last year. And then do you notice a lot less red on the other side?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a reminder that the market is not the same everywhere. And so it's a reminder, see, what about national stats? Here's what the national market's doing. That's really meaningless for Sacramento, right? So it's sort of like West Coast. There's something going on here. But really, when you look at everything above all actives and pendings, what do you notice in Sacramento County under 500,000 actives and pendings versus everything else? Okay, I was just looking for a simple answer. I'm not trying to trap you, I swear, I swear. Yes.
Shortage of affordable housing.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot more people shopping at lower prices. Rates go up, they're like, okay, I'm not shopping at 700. Let's drop that sucker down to 500, right? And so that's the dynamic. But really, in every county, we see that the market is not the same. It's not an East versus West Coast thing, but it is kind of that dynamic where the market's not going to be the same everywhere. Okay, here's months of supply by price range, 300 to 400,000 down here. You can see basically under 800,000, there's about under 1 month almost. And then the higher the price, the more supply there is. It's a very normal thing. I'm not at all concerned that 5 months of supply between 2 and 2.5 million. That's normal. Some people are like, the market's crashing, but no, that is actually normal. Okay, people at higher price points have more selection. It almost seems like unjust. Like, oh, you have more money and you have more supply. That's how it goes. I'll let you check this out in the PDF, but this compares listings and pendings by every single price point. Okay, and it's a cool way to see the market. But my question to you, and hopefully we get some interaction, are we seeing a seasonal peak right now or not? Like, what are you seeing out there? Have you noticed any change in demand, or is it just gangbusters moving forward, pedal to the floor? Like, what are you seeing out there in the marketplace?
Yeah, I'm seeing seasonal demand. The kids are out of school. As I was mentioning, have a Bay Area buyer. Their kids just got out of school. They just bought a house up in Auburn for $70,000 over the list price the day that it came on market. But I think that may be a unicorn, but it may not. So I am seeing a seasonal demand, all the stars lined up. They wanted that school, they wanted that area, they wanted a single story.
Yeah.
So I am seeing definitely some more activity in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, so some more activity. Is anyone seeing less, like less, more, about the same, maybe a lot more? Okay, so things have just gotten hotter, is that what you're saying?
I've been like, last open house I had, 40 to 50 people each.
40 to 50, okay, that's a lot of people in there.
I was right, it's a lot.
Absolutely. Did you have free tacos? Okay, so what I want to walk through is what can we normally see for the second half of the year, and then think about today. And here's this guy, like, the market is holding hot, the real estate temperature never changes. That's a temptation in real estate, right? Like, some people feel like, I can never say anything negative at all about real estate. I'll jinx it. I'm like, look, you don't have that much power. If you have that much power, then you should be on an island somewhere, right? Look, if I can't be like, I just feel like the number will change when I step on the scale. The number's not going to change. I weigh what I weigh, right? And the same thing with housing. I can't convince my, Coinbase account or my stock holdings to change because of my emotions, right? So take the pressure off yourself. And let's talk about, what does the market normally do? Now, these are the percentage of multiple offers. I think this is a cool way to see the market. What do you see the peak each year? What month did multiple offers typically peak? May. Yeah, May. Last year was a little weird because the market peaked early, but kind of May vibes. Sometimes April. 2020 was weird here. Now here's where we're at today. In May, among sales, 61.9% had multiple offers. What do you notice compared to previous years, 2017, 18, 19, 20? What are we experiencing right now? The market's more competitive, which is crazy. Like, we shouldn't have that, but it's a dynamic that we do. But what do we notice about the previous 2 years? It's still not, 2021. All right. And so, but what would be normal is to see this start to go down, right? And that's not sinful to say. That's what we want to say as real estate professionals. Okay. Now, what are we seeing right now over the past 2 weeks? These are pending contracts in the region. What percentage of multiple offers? That's not a trick. Okay, 56%. I'm just going to talk. No one's answering questions. That's okay. But we see multiple offers are different by price point. The lower price points, I mean, man, it's going to go crazy. But you can get multiple offers at a $1.2 million listing, if it's worth 1.4, right? You know what I'm saying? And so, but if it's 56%, you know what we're going to start seeing? When those sales start closing, we should see that number go down. Okay? And so, just something to watch. That would be a normal trend. We'll see how it pans out. I'm going to get 60 offers. There's 4 properties in recent months that had 40 or more offers. Do you know what they had in common?
Under 500,000.
But
Under 500.
okay, yeah, probably pricing. You don't price at market value and get 40 offers the last time I checked. But yeah, also priced 375 and lower. One of them was priced at 375. It closed at 570. Okay. Wow. And so most of them are priced at 299. Right. And so go figure. But what do you see here? Here's the median price. I think there's some powerful insight here. The black bars show the peak every year, the median price from 2015 onward. What month does the median price typically peak in the region? June. Okay, see, I like our thinking. And sometimes May. What about this in October 2020? Wasn't that freaky? Where it's like the market just, rates went down to 3% and it was a weird market. Okay, so would it be normal to see prices peak around this time of year? Yeah, is that okay to say in real estate? People are like, no, the market never peaks. No, it actually does. It actually does. From 2017 onward, here's median price, average price per square foot. Do you see how there's a cyclical vibe?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's okay to admit that. We want to be able to give good advice to sellers as we sort of, the airplane, went up and we're going to descend and start landing for the rest of the year, theoretically. Okay. Now, what do you notice? Here's the median since 2020, like huge increase, huge downturn last year. What's happened over the past few months? We're up, baby. Yeah, we've had a spring uptick. Absolutely. People are like, yes. A lot of people I talk to are like, I closed nothing for months and finally I have a listing, or I finally have 2. I've noticed a lot of agents saying it's starting to pick up. And so people are like, you know, and by the way, I'm gonna screenshot, I have a plane ticket for vacation next week, and so so hopefully you can take care of that, so.
Okay.
So here's volume, 4 years before 2020, do you notice when volume typically peaks? January, it goes up, volume typically peaks in June, and then it goes down for the rest of the year. So what should we expect ahead in a normal year? Volume would probably peak out and then start going down, unless the market does something different. Now, there's some serious flirting going on though. I'd say 2023 volume is really checking out 2020 volume, which I want to show you. Let's make this awkward. 2023, look at this line right here in orange. Do you see how it's intersecting with 2020 volume? Like 2020 volume you know, the pandemic happened, things sloughed off, you know, people backed off the market. And then right now we kind of have a market that's sort of flirting with those levels, which is sort of a weird dynamic. Okay. But here's you know, let's skip through some of this stuff. Okay, blah 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 blah. You guys aren't gonna like this. Okay, the second half of the year though. Here's typically what we see during the second half of the year: lower sales volume, lower demand, fewer new listings, fewer multiple offers, more price reductions, softening prices, longer days on market, more concessions, lower sales prices to original list price ratio. In a typical year. Now, who knows exactly what's going to happen these next 6 months? Does anyone? No. Does it feel like there's a lot of things in the air, like who knows what the heck's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd say this: I wrote a blog post about the seasonal market, and will the seasonal market, what will it happen exactly on time, or will the spring season be extended because the market's so lopsided right now? Here's what I'll say: we're starting a typical seasonal descent. It looks like we're seeing that with multiple offers going down. Okay, it would be normal for all these things to go down for the rest of the year, but we're starting at a really elevated level. Things are really, really competitive right now. And so, you know, we'll see kind of how it goes ahead. Okay. Buyers are hungry, the ones that are here. Okay, they are serious. Okay, buyers are also frustrated, right? For my Succession fans. So my wife loved that show. And buyers also, there's a lot of pent-up demands, and you just got rickrolled too. Sorry. But you can see mortgage applications, they're still low, right? And here's the leading indicator: if we see more mortgage applications start to enter the market, we will see more sales happen, right? And so they're down about 30% nationally, probably more locally. Something to watch. Now, is anyone going to see the Barbie movie? No. Like, no,
I didn't know there was one, man.
yeah, there's one with Ryan Gosling and Margot. Oh, really? Robbie. Yeah. My wife's already buttering me on. We're totally gonna see it, I'm sure. So whether that's right or wrong, whether you think I have a man card or not, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I got to see my wife. The market speed has changed though, which you can't see up there. And you know, and I want to show you what's going on. So do you see all these squiggly lines?
Yeah.
This is days on market in Sacramento County from 2016. The black number is the month of May every year. What would you say about this year compared to previous years? Not normal, right? But look at the last 2 years. This is insane. This should have never happened. But you see these dots based on pendings, we're going to go down like below normal. The market's starting to get faster than usual. Here's placer. What do you notice about placer? May was a little higher, but kind of, you know, normal to 2016. Look at the consistency here in placer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But look at last year. Like that's crazy. And so it's like property should take longer to sell. We're not in that 2021 dynamic anymore. And that's where we're at. But again, these dotted lines with pendings, it shows that in June, when sales close in June, I think we're going to see some different stats. And you're going to really start to see more speed. Okay. Now, are you guys with me here?
Yep.
I have some cool stuff to share. I just want to make sure. Here's this visual, a chaotic visual that I think it speaks volumes. These are sales in Placer County in May. Anything above this line went above the list price, and then anything below went below. But these are days on market. And so basically these dots right here, 0 to 10%, they got bid up in the first 7 days. And the longer you're on the market, the lower you sell to the original list price. Is that a powerful image?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, when the seller is on, you know, after a month, they're like, we're still going to get bid up. You show them a graph like this and go, okay, Johnny, you know, you have to have realistic expectations for the market that actually exists. Here's under 500K. Oh, and by the way, sometimes we're like, look, there's this one listing, 25%. Oh my gosh, but let's not ignore everything else. Here's what I like most about this visual: the sellers that listened right away to the market in the first 2 weeks who went below. I'm like, that is some serious respect. Okay. And so I like that story. Here's below 500,000 in Sacramento County. What do we notice? Almost all the dots are above, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them. Okay, and the bulk, look, 0 to about 7% is like where a lot of it's happening. You have these outliers of 20%. That sucker was priced 20% lower. You know, I mean, come on. Above $1 million, what do we notice? Similar dynamic. The longer you're on the market, the lower you tend to sell. But you know, there's more dots below above $1 million. Okay, so the market isn't the same. It's that Tupac Biggie experience I was talking about. So the market's starting to speed up. I just basically say there's different levels of hotness. Okay, but we're not in a Brad Pitt, you know, mid-90s Legends of the Fall hot market. We're more of a Brad Pitt 2023 hot market, right? Still super hot, not what it was. To get creepy. So sorry. But this is where I want to drop a lot of ideas for how to focus business, because I think it's these critical questions right here. What are you going to do with your equity, and where do you want to be in life? You know, and I hope that you get some ideas for maybe how to talk about the market and over the next few slides. Who has incentive to buy and sell regardless of what prices are doing? Okay, and here's sort of the money slide. When you think about lifestyle, why are people moving? You know, moving up, moving down, school district change, leaving California, inheriting a property, divorce, selling a second home, selling commercial property, financial hardship, selling an investment, buying from a landlord, looking for acreage, buying a first home. And you think about, you know, what are you seeing online on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and where are you showing up in person to connect with these people? The math doesn't work for a lot of people right now, but the math does work for 60% of the market. Where are you going to find those people? Because this is where they're moving. Okay. But let's look at, you know, over the past 90 days in the region. Here's a breakdown of financing, and what stands out to you when you look at cash, FHA, VA, conventional. Conventional's dominant, right? About 2 out of every 3 sales. What else? Anything? Yeah, VA's lowest.
Similar to like 2021, right?
Yeah, VA's kind of been flirting with 4 or 5% for a long time. Sometimes people get really offended. They're like, we love our veterans. I'm like, yeah, but there's not 75% of the market are veterans buying. So, you know, anyway. Here's a cool way to look at it, though. The past 30 days in May, when you look at it by county, what do you notice? Conventional, cash, FHA, and VA. I just made this image a couple weeks ago. I'm really excited about it. I don't know if you are, but like, what do you notice about the trends? Like cash.
Cash is insane. Last year, number.
Do you see how cash is different? Yeah. Higher price points actually have more cash. Yeah, you'd think it would be the opposite. No, investors are buying every low price product. No, that's not true. And all cash buyers aren't always investors either. So just think about like the market. It's sort of that East versus West thing. It's not the same in every area. Okay. And you know, when you look, 22.7% of sales under 500 in the region the past month, FHA. And so that's a good chunk of buyers. And I want you to get comfortable. Not as much in classroom, more of it's in SAC, but I want you to get comfortable with FHA appraisal standards. It's really important for your bag of tools. When you look, about 35% of sales last month over $1 million were cash. That's a good chunk of change. Okay. But all year, it's more like 31% cash. Okay. Does anyone know how much cash was in the market last year? It's 31% this year. Is it higher or lower this year? I know it's just a guess. You know, higher.
Yes.
It's a little higher this year. Last year it was like 25%. And so you see this dynamic where maybe it's, you know, buyers that are like, hey, I've got the money, I don't want to pay 7%. And I mean, maybe that's that dynamic there. Okay. Something to watch, but also you look at FHA. FHA has been increasing, and I want us, like, it looks like the mortgage market is moving more first-time buyers here, right? And so what you want to do in your book of business is to consider who are the players in the market, how is financing moving, and if FHA is becoming cheaper in some of the price buckets, you want to pay attention to that as you focus your business as you talk. Cash has seen a little bit of an uptick lately, nothing major. Has anyone done new construction, represented buyers? Oh my word. Look at new construction. This is like the graph that I shared at the very beginning. These are sales. And over the past 90 days, February, March, and April. And look at the sales in 2023 compared to the past 10 years. That's pretty stunning, right?
Yep.
I'm going to share the resale market that looks nothing like this. And so what's making the difference for new construction? Incentives, concessions. Bro, we'll give you a 4.99 and 20K, right? It's that dynamic. And so what I recommend is to do, like, here's a realtor on Instagram who said, here's a new community, Delta Shores in, South Sacramento that's opening up. I love that he's telling the story going, this is new. Did you know that typically I think last month it was 23 to 27%. I forgot the exact number of all newly constructed homes. You know where they were? Roseville. And so you want to pay attention to where buyers are going. Okay, rents. We mentioned rents. What's happening with rents? You can see, according to Apartment List, Sacramento down 4% over the past 12 months. Now, if a tenant renews, I mean, they might not get a discount. But overall, we're seeing a change in prices and a change in some rents. So I want you to consider, like, especially if this changed more, who would have incentive to sell in a situation like that? How might that change an investor mentality? Okay. Nationally, investors, in the first quarter, 41% of the homes they bought were under 1,400 square feet. What does that tell us? Investors are targeting more that market where first-time buyers are. Again, ding, 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 something that we're paying attention to. Is anyone getting concessions on your deals right now? Okay. If so, what are you getting?
17 grand.
17 grand. I like it. I like it. What else? Anyone? No. Does anyone else have a deal? No. That's the problem. So I'm like, I gotta stop asking questions.
ITC, so I see a lot. It's a range. It's about 10 to 15,000 pretty
Okay.
consistently.
So kind of like under 3%, 2%, sometimes 1%, sometimes even $1 million sales will have this random $4,000 thing. Yeah.
My last listing up in Yuba City, we dropped price 3 times, and then I gave a $3 grand buyer's agent that gave it away. It went real quick.
Yeah.
He started it.
Absolutely. There's that incentivizing deals to get done. And so I was just going to say, I mean, concessions, about 40% of sales in Sacramento, about 37 in Placer last month had them. I was DMing with this agent the other day, and he said, here are 4 transactions, here are the credits. And again, I love the story here because I think sometimes in real estate, we only focus on all like super sexy, hot stuff. And I love hearing that, hey, buyers, this is what they got. And so please, please, please tell the story. Here's the cool stat: 65% of sales with concessions in Sacramento County in May had multiple offers.
That's interesting.
And so isn't that interesting? Because you think like multiple offers, nobody's getting any credits, but then you look at the stats and go, oh, actually, that's something different. Now, maybe there were multiple offers, there was nothing in the contract, and then they negotiated repairs. Like, I get that. A lot of agents report that, but we look at the stats, and to me, I would love for buyers to see a little bit more of that. Okay. Now, this is really hard. I mean, property owners are looking at dividing assets. It's tough right now when you inherit a home or during divorce. Okay. I do a lot of appraisals on the back end for that kind of stuff. And I hear constantly that, yeah, we don't know what we're going to do. Between 2 sisters in Folsom right now, we inherited this, mom passed away. We're not sure how we're going to make this work. I hear that all day long. So in your marketing, focus on people who have died. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds like else. You want to focus on people who are, going through stuff, and please don't DM them after the, fresh Facebook news. You're going to be the worst. You're going to be screenshot. Don't do that. But this is a problem, and I want you to find solutions for people. Okay, this is interesting. Has anyone heard a tax on short-term rentals that's being proposed right now? It's in the assembly. It hasn't passed. I don't think they voted on it yet, but the idea is to include an extra 15% tax on Airbnbs. And so who knows if it'll pass or not, but if it does, we pay attention to stuff like this and go, Who could that affect? Would more listings come to the market? Would people be like, I'm done being a hotel landlord, right? And so, something we want to watch. I'm going to skip through some of this. There's some cool migration stats. We're going to run out of time, so I'm going to skip through these bad boys. Yeah, look at all this stuff. Buyers looking for acreage. I think that's a big deal right now. I know someone who moved from Roseville to El Dorado County. The payment was $1,100 more than the current mortgage. But you know what? Husband wanted 5 acres. Lifestyle, okay, Yellowstone, been watching that. Like, I want to raise my cattle and, fight with Beth and people. And if you watch that show, people leaving California, are people still leaving in your experience?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear a lot of feedback that think about who has incentive to list right now. It's not that person locked in low, or maybe it is, but the person who's locked in low and wants to live in Tennessee, they have incentive. And so the top line is people leaving the state. The bottom line is people coming. The interesting part, though, is for the previous decade through 2021, 7.7 million people left California and 5.8 million people came to California. Right? Is that surprising?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we're like, everyone is leaving, nobody is coming. We have the worst state ever with the best weather and with wonderful people, and and we're doing pretty good. We're not great, but I'm pretty happy sometimes with a lot of stuff going on here. But don't forget the people who are coming. You want to market to them also. But seriously, tell the story of the market about where people are leaving. Short sales are a very, very small portion of the market, but you can see why are people selling short. And in a lot of cases, old loans, but you can see, bought in 2021, bought in 2022, you're going to start to see some people who are in a negative equity position that need help. Okay, so just be there for them. Don't bank your entire business on this, because you will definitely not be able to survive in real estate with only 14 short sales or whatever. But props to Armando Ramos, realtor, who last month sold every single short sale in Placer County. So there was only one, but he sold. If I was him, I don't know, I'd be like, hey, I'm the short sale king of Placer. So use stats to your advantage. So I have some quick thoughts on volume and then prices, and then we'll get out of here. Are you still with me here? Because
Yes, love that.
So the market is raging. It is crazy how hot it is right now. Like the percentage of multiple offers, it's nuts. But we've also had this market where it's like, wow, what's going on with volume? And so I want to show you our most populated county, Sacramento. Volume in June of 2022 compared to everything else. And I want us to look at 2007 volume. I'm going to quickly scroll through the months. Here's June, July, August, September, October. Come on. October. Oh, we're getting close to 2007, right? November. Woo! Yes, worst November ever. And do you see what's happening? December, January, February, March, April. And then I have some good news now. After 6 months of the worst volume ever, can I get a drum roll? We're past 2011. Yeah. Yeah, and so here we are in a market where we've had really depressed volume. This past month, I think we're starting to get a lot more sales, still at a depressed level. Okay, so we're kind of in this moment where I'd say 2007 volume vibes, but 2020 competition vibes. I think that's the perfect way to describe it, right? But we're sort of in this Mr. Miyagi moment where we're like, and sorry for the 80s reference, but we're like, Mr. Miyagi, put your hands on the market, heal us. Did that work? Yeah, okay. But really what we need is, we don't need Mr. Miyagi's hands, as gentle as those would be, I'm sure. We need affordability. And that's what brings back volume into the market is affordability. I know that got weird. As we get more affordability, we get more volume back. And to get even weirder, you can either be on team prices or team volume. Okay? I say you can be on both in real estate, but sometimes in real estate, the profession is so focused on prices. Well, what are prices doing? Prices are up, and prices do not pay the bills. Volume pays the bills. Okay, and I'm not saying for you to like go out and root for prices to go down. That would probably be really healthy. prices go down, rates go down, there's more financing options, we get more affordability, we get more volume. And so I just want to toggle between the two, whether you're on Team Edward or Jacob, I don't care, but play for team volume. Okay, plaster, I don't want to leave you out. May volume was really low. Here's January through May in volume, and it was it's been the worst year worst season over the past 10 years. Yeah, no biggie. But here's a different way to look at it. Here's the number of sales, and this compares this year with, this is the pre-pandemic average. I'm not comparing it to last year. The stats are going to get weird in coming months when we start comparing to that really dull market last year. So I'm comparing this year with what was normal, 2016 to 2019. And so what do we notice? Here's the number of missing sales, and then here's a percentage. Look at Sacramento. Sacramento, lower prices, has the biggest beating around. Okay, Placer County, hey, not too bad, down 30%. Give yourself a pat on the back. But really, in the region, we would say that volume has been down about 38%. That's still a substantial amount. And we look at it. There's about 3,400 missing sales this year compared to last year, or even the pre-pandemic average. But how many sales have happened?
6,400.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's sort of like, you get to focus on what's your focus going to be on, what's missing or on what's happening. It's this mindset thing in real estate. What are you going to focus on, right? And I'd just say position yourself for the part of the market that's happening. That's the only thing you can do in your mindset, and don't be a douchebag, right? If I can say that. Okay, I first saw that going a little bit. Yeah, that's a technical term, but here's an article from 1981, and it's wild because you look back in the Sacramento Bee, and like, we've hit rock bottom, exorbitant high cost of mortgage, 12 to 18% price cutting, cost of new housing continue to climb, and it's funny because it's like you look back and go, oh, some of this sounds familiar. It's like, so if you're in the newspaper business, just keep an article long enough, repackage it, change the years, you're like, great. And I just want to share this because people got through it in 81. Low volume. Volume was really low in 81. Do you know why? Because rates skyrocketed. New construction stopped. Reverse right now because sellers are sitting, so new construction is doing well, so it's different. But I just want to say that, we're not stuck. There's no reason why we can't have a vibrant life and do well in business. So the luxury market, when what's happening in California, the volume that's been hit the hardest above 2 million. I know we all feel so bad for all these folks. So above 2 million, and then above, between 1 and 2 million, volume has been hit hardest. But in our area, I want you to think about, where are you focusing your business? And you can see by price point, anything above about 600,000, it's down about 45% compared to last year. Okay. Every single price point has been hit, but what do you notice at lower prices? Like, what's up with this? How come we're seeing these bars so much lower? Does anyone know? Affordability is like, because a lot of buyers are there. Look, above basically above 400,000, below 400,000, you've actually seen more sales this year compared to last year. Right? Here's a different way to look at it. The black bars this year by price range, and then the blue bars last year. And so do you see how, like, there's a few more sales this year under 400,000, but here's what's happened in the market. The black bars have basically been pushed all the way to the left. Okay, and so what we're seeing is buyers starting to shop more at lower prices. And so as you think about your business, who are you targeting? Okay, without breaking fair housing policy, rules, or I don't know, speaking of targeting, but who are you going after? It's buyers who are shopping at lower prices that are making up a lot of the market. Okay, so last but not least, we'll look at prices. If this is your license plate, I want to talk to you afterward. I have some advice for you. But we've seen a spring uptick like I talked about. This is the whole region. And this right here is Placer or Sacramento County. It looks similar. This right here is Placer County. There's a little bit of a lag. Oops. Placer County. Doesn't look Placer, Sacramento region. It looks very similar, right? All ships rise and fall with the tide. What's happening in Placer is very similar to Sacramento. What's happening in California is similar as a trend to Sacramento. Okay, here's a cool image. The black bar is California, and the red bar is the median price locally. What I did, I put them on a different axis because prices in California are way higher. Put them on a different axis and it brings the trend together. Does the trend look really similar? All ships rise and fall with tide, right? And so this is a new comp for my house. I don't know about your house. I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to list. I'm looking for an agent who will list my home for 200 million. Now that Jay-Z and Bones, will you do it? Okay, great, great. We'll make the news. We'll break all records. You know. Oh, I guess yeah, we'll see. Okay, so there's just the last few things. I want to show you this spring season. A lot of people are looking at real estate and going like, oh, the market is back, baby. We're all good. We've seen growth. Yes, we have. This is median price growth from 2004 onward. This year, we've seen 8.82% growth from January to May. Sorry, you can't see the heading there. But what you notice through mostly every year happens between January and May. Do you notice how mostly every year we see an uptick?
Yeah.
There were a couple of years, like 2008 was really dark. 2011, basically the market was almost flat. Okay, and so it's very normal, no matter whether we're in a declining or increasing cycle, it's really normal to see an uptick. Okay, and here's April to May. I don't want to bore you too much, but yeah, about 2% up. I mean, that's maybe a little lower than some years, but you know, not too shabby. But I'd say the housing market feels like a relationship that's been struggling, but it just had a good vacation. There's some excitement at the moment, but there are also deep underlying problems, right? So that's really about the best way I can describe it. I don't know about you. Do you think that's good? Because I'm like, yeah, it feels really glowing, and it also feels like, oh, we have some affordability issues. Okay. I'm going to skip through some of this stuff because this is, you guys will just hate it. So there we go. So Placer County in gold and Sacramento in blue from 1990. What do you notice?
There's
Yeah. So kind of, yeah. All ships rise and fall with the tide. It looks similar, but Placer's higher. Yeah, Placer, larger homes. That's a big part of it also. So here's Sacramento County since 2012. Look how much prices increased through 2012, and then this is March 2020. And then they shot up 180,000, and then they went down 95 and up 50, right? It's like, it feels like drama, right? You're like rates of our lives vibes, really. And here's Placer County. Look at Placer. It's just nuts. 240 and then up almost the same amount in 2 years, down, up. And so we're in a really, really interesting market. Okay. When you look at 1975 onward, this is my last graph. I know you're graphed out, like, let's get the heck out of here and make some money. 1975 onward, what do you notice about price cycles? And this is in Sacramento. This is a Freddie Mac price index adjusted for inflation. The market goes up and it goes down. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, and so there's something very normal about that. We've been down for about 1 year, even though we have this really glowing spring. It's crazy. It's so competitive right now. And we're looking at the stats going, I know what normal looks like for the second half of the year, but what the heck's going to happen? Are we just going to be crazy? And so we'll see. But I just a couple of things. I think one of the things that the market's going to answer is, can prices decline with really low supply? Okay. Traditionally, when we have really low supply, that puts a lot of upward pressure on prices, but we also have the elephant in the room, a problem with affordability. And so I think these two forces are they're gonna do sumo wrestling together. They're gonna fight. They're gonna cage fight, where you have affordability and low supply. And then over time, over the next few years, we'll see which one is the more powerful force. Okay. So sometimes unexpected things happen, am I right? Did anyone predict the Kings would be in the playoffs? Once in a while, someone will raise their hand. Someone raises their hand, and I'm like, but you predicted that every year. You're actually right. And so, but then we think about next year, are the Kings going to make the playoffs? Who knows, right? Who knows what's going to be popular? And, you know, will the Edgar haircut or will the mullet? Is that going to go style? Like, we don't know, like, the big things in life, you know? But finally, I'm marked safe from the debt ceiling crisis. So thank God, right? But then we have, you know, Elon Musk is like, commercial real estate is melting and the homes are about to go down. And so every week there's this new sensational flavor of ice cream, and you got to choose what you're going to eat and digest, and you got to cut through the hype. Okay. And so I would just say this, it's really important. And I want you down here to control your mindset. The only thing you have power over is your own mindset. Okay. You can't control the market, but you can control your mindset, okay? The market will keep changing. We got some serious drama right now. I'm hoping that we have a really normal seasonal downturn. I wouldn't mind if it was sharper so more buyers can afford. I don't get to make the rules though. So closing unsolicited advice, I have quick things, be patient. We need time to see the trend, okay? We'll keep unpacking things by the week. This is exciting, okay? Plan for low volume and low supply, okay? We are in new territory. This is our new reality right now. Okay, someone saying otherwise, I just don't think that they're in touch. Okay, watch Selling Sunset to pick up tips for success. Okay, kidding on that one. Don't get swayed every week by every new piece of real estate news. Okay, you don't want to be that person because then it breaks down your credibility. People won't trust you. Okay, grow your network by playing pickleball. Okay, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, please get in front of people. You have to grow your network in this market. How are you going to do it? You do all the social stuff, do everything online, but you got to get in front of people, whether it's networking meetings or playing a sport, like exercising, whatever your thing is, you have to do that because it's in a market today where you hear a lot of no's where the math doesn't work before you get to a yes. And so you have to increase the size of your network in order to get more yeses, okay? I'd say, stand out when others are contracting, okay? Show up for people in today's world. See, that makes you really, really attractive. I'd say have a plan, work it and be consistent. Diversify your practice, whether it's land or 2 to 4 units, or I think you mentioned someone did working with an investor, like fantastic. I know someone who took some listings in an outlying area selling land and their sign writer is going to be like, you Sutter land specialist, never been there before, but like, I'm not saying to take a listing in San Diego or LA. I see some local agents doing that. I'm like, oh, that sounds expensive flying down, or like, whoa, but you got to expand your practice. If there's not a lot of volume here, go where the market will take you. Okay. And then I'd say obsess over every escrow. Why did the seller sell? Why did the buyer buy? Please, every time you hear a real estate, person talk about something that closed, ask them that question. That's a clue how to focus. And the last but not least, be authentic. Okay, I think it's really, really good for business. How are people going to remember you in 2023 when volume was really low? Are they going to look and go, man, that person really showed up for me in my life? Or are they going to be like, wow, that person was just stressed the whole time, and they were just eating nachos every night like me, like, like, how are you going to handle yourself right now in this moment? So anyway, that's me. I hope that was helpful. I really, really appreciate it.
All right, so Ron's gonna hang out for a little bit so we can do some Q&A. Let me hop up here. I did not get a chance. I forgot to mention, we are postponing next week's meeting at PCAR. It will not be taking place at PCAR. We will be meeting here instead. So for those of you who were looking forward to that, it is just postponed. We will be doing it. But it goes almost hand in glove with what Brian was saying. Next week, we're gonna have some people there. Brent requested that they speak. What they're going to do is they're going to teach us how to expand our network, how to create our own little groups, referral network groups, so that way we can leverage the people who are around us to get more sales. Exactly what you were saying. That's what it's all about right now. Yeah. So next week here, 10 o'clock, we'll see you guys then. Have a fantastic week. Bye all.